There's two types of leaning in Ready or Not. The first one is what I'm going to call toggle lean, where you press Q or E and you will slightly cant your body to one side or the other. This can be good for when you are moving towards a target, taking more accurate shots, as there is a little bit less bounce whenever you are shooting at a target compared to normally walking without any type of slow movement. You are going to be bouncing around a lot more. It can also help you see a little bit more around corners, although not as much as the other lean, which I'm going to show you, which is called the free lean or the alt lean. There's a couple things you can do with alt lean, one being that you can peek over corners. So right now I have my weapon here and I can actually peek over and shoot down near the door. But if I were to do that normally, I would not be able to see or clear my weapon of that space. So you can actually get nice and close and actually shoot over with a little bit of exposure whenever you are leaning over with free lean. All you need to do is hold alt, or depending, I'm not sure what it is for controller, but you need to hold that button, the free lean button, and you can hold forward and you will raise on your tippy toes. It's also the same for lowering yourself. So you can actually hold alt and then press S. You'll do like a little crouch without actually having to physically crouch. Now, so this is the regular toggle lean, and you can kind of see how much exposure and how much I lean into the room. But if I use free lean, I can actually lean way further into the room and clear without actually exposing too much more of my body. Now, this is going to be extremely helpful on harder difficulties, but there is a way to do it correctly and incorrectly. You are not going to be right up against the door and then leaning out and peeking like this. Although this is generally speaking fine, it's not going to be the most effective and conceal your body enough. What you really want to do is try to, and I'll kind of go over this, peek as much as you can into the room, sliver by sliver, until you can just barely clear your weapon of the door frame so that you can shoot and so that you can see the target and take the shot. This is the safest way to expose the least amount of your body. Now, there is a better way to do this when you crouch, and I'll kind of illustrate this really quickly. So this is how much I can see into the room just by leaning normally. So I can just barely see him, and if I press crouch while doing the exact same motion, I can actually see a little bit further into the room. I can better illustrate this over here in this room, where I will use the light as the example. So I cannot see the light here. If I crouch, I can actually see more. I can see the light, and I can see past the light even more. And all I'm doing is pressing the crouch button. I'm not doing anything else in terms of movement. So this is as much as I can see. I can kind of angle my camera to see more around the corner. But as I said, if I press crouch and lean over, you can see that I can see much more. And I can also have an easier way to clear my weapon as well. So the best way you want to be doing this is you are going to lean around a corner decently far away from where you are trying to look into. So for example, I cannot clear my weapon here. If I press control, I can actually clear my weapon and see a bit more into the room. When you are clearing and pieing and slicing into a room like this with alt lean, you can also use your toggle lean to actually get a little bit more speed when actually moving back and forth. You'll notice if I am with toggle lean and I have free lean active, it'll be a smooth kind of straight gesture, versus if I don't have toggle. So here, there's kind of like a weird bump that you're going over. You can still lean pretty quickly, but I notice when I'm doing this, it's a little bit more consistently, doing like a good kind of general motion and angle. And you can kind of peek out a little bit more smoothly. There's less like weird angles for you to kind of trip over, because there's like that weird bump you'll kind of see as I'm saying. You'll kind of like go over, you'll step up, and then I think it's because of the way the animation is. But when you lean like this, a lot of that is moved, and it's just a straight kind of canted hill or line, basically. It's very straightforward. So where if you press Q, which is toggling to the left, I can actually get to that space a little bit sooner because I'm already halfway leaning into that location. So just a quick little note with that. And then, so as I said, the best way to kind of do this is you're going to be as far as you can into cover, and then you're going to lean out as much as you can. This will expose the least amount of your body. You do not want to be close to the corner and then lean out, because this will expose a lot. Even if you are doing a little bit of a lean, your body will still be very exposed when you're trying to lean into this area. Do not think that you can kind of just tap the lean a little bit and then you are good like this, because as I said, you are exposing much of your body and you'll be getting shot. You need to be further into cover and then lean and kind of piece together each slice of the pie until you are clear of the door. And so the benefit of this, and I'll be showing this in this video to kind of illustrate the concept of how this is actually working. So generally speaking, if you are able to, you'll be leaning like this, and this is basically just a perfect amount of clearing. You should basically just be able to see around half of their body depending on the angles and their position within a room. But I can clearly take a shot and actually like hit their body, at least for sure. A lot of the time it'll be a little bit harder to hit their head with this trick, but it is, technically speaking, this is kind of where you're going to be, the angle and view that you'd be seeing when you are targeting and engaging most suspects around a corner, if you are doing it technically correctly. As I said, this is sometimes going to be worse or better depending on the angle and depending on how well you are actually leaning in terms of exposure. This is obviously going to be against suspects that are standing still and not suspects that are actively moving or seeking you out in any aggressive capacity. So here's me solo on New America on hard mode. Ignore that kind of first engagement, but this is kind of how I'm working the door. You can kind of see like I'm slowly plying. I'm not doing the crouch lean, which I should be doing. This is just kind of the general idea. There is a anomaly here where you shouldn't be able to peek out this far, but this is just kind of showing the illustration of what it's going to be like, generally speaking. As long as you are doing it very carefully, you should be able to kind of do this peeking constantly around a corner. You're going to, obviously check both sides, and then you can lean out decently far. As I said, this gas grenade is actually creating a lot of concealment for me, so I'll be discussing in another video, but you'll be able to see that I'm leaning out and I am kind of peeking around that corner, doing at the apex of my lean, and that, as you can kind of see in the video, I am leaning as far as I can without exposing myself too far into the room. Otherwise, he will see me. And as I said, there is an anomaly here where I'm not doing this lean perfectly. As I said, he would actually probably shoot me if I didn't have the gas grenade there. So this isn't the best lean, but it's pretty close to being, generally speaking, what you'll be seeing. And here is an illustration of this in a player context, where in terms of his visibility and how far he can see me,
I see a little bit of shoulder and a little bit of knee.
And as you can see, I can see his whole entire body.
Same thing, a little bit of shoulder, a little bit of knee, but I think a little less.
And he can only see like...
I can't see anything. No, I can just see your knee and elbow. Yeah, and I can't. Yeah.
Now, here is a clip where doing this free lean will save your life, because you can actually identify targets before they are approaching, and you'll have a little bit more of an advantage. I do have my friends helping me out from behind. My team, my squad is also covering me, and I can reload and such, but I'm kind of holding the front point line, and I can see them a little bit before they can see me most of the time. There is going to be instances where they are still going to be very quick and shooting at you, but you will have that advantage where you can see them just slightly before they can see you, and you'll have a better advantage. And this is on hard mode, to be clear. So these guys do have very quick reaction times, and I'm holding up very well against multiple targets. And here is another practical use of the free lean. You can actually do quick little peeks around the corner. You're still doing that apex of the lean, so you can kind of see here, I'm slowly peeking out. I can get a quick flash of what's going on. Sometimes you're not always going to be perfectly peeking all the time, but doing like a little quick peek like that, it'll at least minimize exposure for too long if you are peeking out too quickly. And so here's another clip of my friend actually seeing me, and on screen I'll say kind of when he sees me, as you'll see here in a second with the text, but he still can't see me, which is a crazy thing. He is just like going around the corner, and as soon as you see that word now, that means he can see me. As you see, I'm doing the leaning technique. If I was using the crouch leaning technique, you would actually have to be exposed even more to see me. So it does take a while for him to come around that corner and see me. So you can kind of see how amazing learning how to free lean properly can make a huge difference. It does take a little bit of time to get used to, because it is a tricky skill, trying to quickly lean with Q and then crouching and then using free lean. And then obviously getting used to, moving in a direction, holding Alt, and then letting go, and then moving in that direction again, holding Alt, kind of slicing the pie. So you basically are using freely to peek out for a millisecond, and you're letting go of it to move up, a little bit over, and then you're using it again. And you can see it helps a lot for a lot of these difficult moments. And this technique, honestly, if you haven't beaten the last mission on hard mode, this will help you do it. Honestly, I'm not sure if you can really go through this game without doing it, honestly, because of its insane advantage. I'm sure you could, but it would be a real pain, to say the least. So this is going to be a core mechanic of how you're going to be playing Ready or Not. If you want to play on hard mode, and if you want to play the hardest mission in the game, this is absolutely what you're going to be doing. This thing should be one of your core skills. But anyway, that is going to be it for the video. Thank you for watching and have a good day.